What up? What up? What up? What up? What up? So we back with another, I guess you would say another episode of O-line talk, and we're gonna eventually make our way around the different positions. With Chris just joking, and so we're gonna talk about the not so known O lineman today. And before we get started, since this thing became unplugged, Raven C, since you in here, and you kind of know how this YouTube thing go, make sure you give me a little thumbs up if you can hear me because I pulled this cord out before when we was started. Chris, you can hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. I just want to make sure the people can hear me because I kind of stepped on the cord when the countdown was going on. But I'm gonna assume that they can, and we're gonna go forward. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna talk about 10 guys. Appreciate you, Raven C. We're gonna talk about 10 guys, and we'll do a little different. We're gonna throw up a little graphic and talk about them. And Chris gonna give his opinion on them. I'm gonna give my opinion on them. And while we're doing that, you guys that watch the combine, you can kind of talk about how you what your thoughts of them are and if they fit what we do, and if you want them on a team or if you don't want them on a team, if you think they suck or if you think they fit what we do. And we have a RAS score for everybody but one, and so you'll see their different numbers on the board, and we'll just have a general conversation about these guys, and you'll hear me flipping through paper because I wrote notes down for each one of them to try to remember what I saw and whatnot. And so we're just going to get this thing fired up and try to get out of here in about 35 to 45 minutes. And so we can enjoy the rest of our afternoon. But it's going to be good. I just enjoy talking about the process. And the O-line is one of the polarizing positions in the NFL. The other one obviously is a receiver. And once we get into receiver, it's so many good O-linemen. It's so many good receivers. It's like you can do this thing probably up into the draft with just O-linemen and receivers because there's so many good ones. Yep. But we'll start with the O-linemen, and they really showed their butt this weekend, man. Sunday was normally the receivers still a show at the combine, but the O-linemen they really showed out. And the guy you gave me yesterday, that was a really good watch today.
Oh yeah,
it was a really good watch.
I got some interesting info on him. So when we get to him, that's what made me want to put him on the list because I didn't know what I found out yesterday. So
okay,
when we get to him, I'll tell you what it is.
All right. So first things up, let me get it situated. All right, first guy up, Blake Fisher, first guy on the list from Notre Dame, and you see his RAS score, size 10 hand. So let's explain RAS for those that don't know. RAS score is from 0 to 10, 10 being the best, 0 being the worst. So you see where it says RAS, and he has a 7.72. So anything in green is really, really good. Anything is yellow is okay, and red means bad. So anything you see in yellow is average. Anything in red is bad. Anything in green is good. So that's kind of how the scoring goes. So for Blake, you see it's mostly yellow, so he's okay. Blake is from Notre Dame. I'll give you his snaps at Notre Dame in 2021. He played 37 snaps. In 2022, he played 794. And then last year, he played 710. He's 6'6", 312. And I'll let you start with your evaluation of Blake.
Yeah, with him, like, he's just one of those lunch pail dudes. Like, it's not always going to look pretty. Like there'll be times where sometimes he's overmatched, but he's going to battle you. And that's what I really liked about him. He's a scrappy dude. Like, I don't think he's going to be a Pro Bowler or an All Pro or anything like that. But I think he'll be one of those guys who could just come in for you. Like similar to like a Patrick McCarry in a way, but not with all of that flexibility. Just talking about on the right side, that he'll be able to just come in and be able to man the ship until whoever is injured or let's say if you have a season-ending injury, he can be one of those guys that can step up. But I liked his athleticism. I think he's really strong. I think that's the part of his game that really stuck out to me is his strength. He's not the most nimble of foot, and you can kind of tell it there with the RAS score. Like, he's not a terrible athlete, right, but as far as that recovery, he's just as his feet. With his feet, he's not great in recovery. But what saves him is his hand strength. So his feet might not be able to line up and mirror with those counter moves, but his hands, they're strong enough to be able to kind of save him and buy his quarterback a little bit more time.
Right. And I'll admit, the first time when I first looked him up and I saw Blake Fisher and his picture popped up, I was not expecting what I saw.
Yeah,
And I
me
saw
too.
a
I thought
black
he was
dude. It
white
was
though. Like
Blake. I was
I
like,
thought he was
oh,
white.
I got the wrong dude. But as far as my notes, I got as far as first level blocking, he was mid. As far as blocking like edge guys, elite edge guys, he was whatever. It was not so good, not so bad. He was just an average college right tackle. But playing for Notre Dame, and when you talked about that power stuff, he fit that. He fit what they do because they're gonna power run you, and he always had a tight end or 2 or 3 or 4 beside him. So he rarely had to solo block people in the run game because he always had a tight end or 2 by him because they got in a heavy formation with Estimate and they just ran it down people's throat. Especially once they got the lead on people, they would always run heavy, and he just fit what they do. He was a run heavy. He would lean on you. Third quarter, late in the fourth quarter, you were tired of his big self just leaning on you, and you just kind of folded. And that's what he was good at. As far as that, what else I had for him, he was a good right tackle. He lost some battles, but he lost slow when they did have to pass protect, which is good for any kind of mobile quarterback. Well, any quarterback, period, because they gave you the opportunity to kind of, if you could move a little bit, you were able to escape. So he didn't just lose fast a lot. He was able to just kind of hold on, so give you opportunity to process stuff. And lastly, he needs to have better angles when attacking the second level. So when him trying to get to the second level, if he was uncovered and he had to get the linebackers, he didn't have the foot speed to get there, so he had to have great angles, and he didn't have great angles. So if he was just uncovered and he had to go get like a backside backer or something like that, they would just outrun him. Because that goes in line with what you said about him not having good foot speed. So his angles need to be on point, and his angles weren't on point. But he wasn't asked to do it a lot either because Notre Dame is like, I'm gonna give it to you straight down your throat, and you got to take it.
Yep.
So he didn't have a lot of versatility in him. But if he goes to a team like that loves to run the ball, that's gonna play old school football, I think he'd fit them, and he'd be a good backup tackle. Is he gonna be a day one starter? I don't think so. But the Rads tell you that with his athleticism, 7.72, which is not bad, but I don't think that's starter Rads. That's complimentary backup stuff.
He could carve out a nice little role, like like you see, like what's it, Jermaine Illuminor. Remember him? He's still kicking, still starting for the. I think he could have a kind of career like that, especially if he gets with like a Greg Roman system.
Right. So he find his way to San Diego. Might fit. Might fit because those Michigan guys, the Notre Dame guys, they one and the same to me.
Yeah.
So that Roman / Harbaugh, other Harbaugh type stuff, it might fit for him. All right. That's Blake Fisher from Notre Dame, standing 6'6", 312.
Black Blake Fisher.
Black Blake Fisher. Oh, I did forget one part. I got his second level blocking is elite. When he's uncovered, he has the he has the opportunity to get to linebackers. When he gets to linebackers, he do put them in the dirt. I do have that. When he get his hands on them, he put them in the dirt, and that goes to that power that you talked about too. When he get to him, he rarely gets to him though, because a lot of them see him coming and be like, shing. But when he get his hands on them, they go down and they go down hard.
Yeah.
All right, next guy, Brandon Coleman, TCU. All right, RAS score for him 9.98. Keep in mind, the top RAS is 10. So he's 2/10 off having a 10. He ran an under 5.40, and for any old lineman, under 5 is good. His vert is 9.34, which is almost a 10 as far as testing. Broad jump is what 9. What was that? 906. They had these funny numbers.
Yeah.
And so, but it's green.
That's all you need to know.
Yeah, anything that's green is good. So we're gonna do it like that because I hate the way they do like height. I hate. Why don't you just put 6'4" instead of 6'044? And then his weight 313. Then arm length is 3. I can tell you what arm length is. Arm length is 34 and 5/8. That's what the arm length is. I know that one. And then hand size is 10 and 3/4. So go ahead with Brandon Coleman.
Yeah, he's a guy. Obviously the testing speaks for itself. Being able to test in an elite way, the way he did. I was a little bit surprised. I'm not gonna lie. watching him on tape. Not to say that he was a bad athlete, but I didn't see an elite level athlete like this. So that was interesting to see. But he's a guy that has positional versatility, guard, tackle versatility, and we know the Ravens like that. He's a guy who's a team captain, and he has really, really long arms and a crazy wingspan for his size. And it's just like the way he's built is like his midsection is guard, but the rest of his body is tackle. So it's like everything is like his limbs are long, but his midsection is like a meatball. Yeah, I mean, I like him. I thought he was able to, climb up to the second level really well, unlike the what was the dude we just talking about, Blake Fisher. I thought he was able to climb up to the second level fairly smoothly, compared to Blake Fisher. When as far as his hands, I thought he was able to rework his hands very well. Like, so meaning when when he gets that block on you, that initial punch, and the defensive lineman swipes him away, he's right back with it, like right under. And I love to see those active hands with linemen and being able to keep them inside and get back to that breastplate in the middle of the defender's chest. I love that about him. What was that?
No, you go ahead. I was just gonna give you a snaps. I thought you was finished. Go ahead. I'm waiting to finish.
One of the things I didn't really like about him is sometimes he played a little bit too high. When they did his measurements for his height, I thought he was going to be taller because he kind of plays tall. So I didn't think he was going to be 6'4" and change. So when he came in, I was like, damn. So he just plays high then a lot of times. And that's something that's not a huge, a huge ding on him. I think that's something, obviously you can work on, and with better coaching, you can get better at it and more consistent with. It's not something that he does all the time. But I thought he could do a better job of just keeping himself centered, keeping himself balanced, and just keeping that pad level low.
Yeah. And he's one of the guys that I had did before the combine. So I actually got him on his paper at 6'6". But once you go to the combine, your real height come out.
Right. And you see that's what he looks like. He's 6'6", though. That's the thing.
His snaps for TCU in 2020, he had 115. 2021, he had 479. 2022, 806. And last year, 720. Now, he played guard and tackle for TCU this year. So he played in that Colorado game. He was at guard. And so this is what I have for him. At guard, played too high. In the Senior Bowl practices, he played some guard too. And he was playing too high in there. He got bull rushed in pass pro and stood up in run plays, which is kind of what you saw also. Then I got at tackle. He had better reps doing tackle at the Senior Bowl practices. And then I got played left guard in games 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then they moved him to tackle in games 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12, and 13. I got at guard. He would take steps, but it looked like he really wasn't moving. So he would climb, but it's like he was in space. I mean, not in space, in the same place. It's like he was just pounding his feet, but not really moving. So he was just in concrete. He had problems holding the point on down blocks, and he was good picking up blitzers at guard. But what I got for tackle, whatever coach moved him to tackle, need to give that guy a raise. Because he looked like a totally different person at tackle.
Yeah.
When TCU moved him to tackle, he was better on his down blocks. He was a good puller. He was good at pass setting. He was good in space. So when they transitioned him to tackle, he looked like a totally different person. So the guy that moved him to guard, if he was at tackle first, need to be fired. And the guy that moved him back to tackle need a raise because he is a tackle. Now, I know they probably moved him to guard because he's 6'4" instead of 6'6". But this kid is a tackle, and maybe with some NFL coaching, he could play guard, but he looked naturally a lot better at tackle. And then his athleticism showed that, with the combine. I see they got him listed as guard here, but his play at the Senior Bowl and his play on tape, he looked a lot better at tackle.
Yeah, and with guys like that, like it's just when you have this kind of physical skill set and athleticism, it's like, all right, like we may think you're a guard, but we're going to give you a chance to prove that you're not a tackle first. Prove to us that you're not a tackle first, and then we'll move you inside. And I think he's we see a lot of guys like that in this class, and I think he's one of those that put him at tackle first, see how he does, and if he does well, keep him out there. If he doesn't, kick him on the inside.
Right. I agree. Again, when you watch him, if y'all get a chance to watch him, for those that hadn't watched him yet, when you see him at guard, he looks average to mid to bad. But when he go to tackle, look like a totally different human being. Next up, Christian Haynes from UConn, the independent UConn, and you see his RAS at 9.31. Played guard for UConn, has elite with his speed. He ran a 4.92. No, he ran a 5.03. I'm sorry. He ran a 5.03, which is just over that mark that we talked about. Good split, good 20-yard split, good 10-yard split. Had a 33-inch vertical, which is good. His height is not good. He's 6'2", but for a guard, you kind of take that. What I will say about Christian before I get into this, if he can snap the ball, he may be elite. If he can snap the ball, he may be super duper elite in NFL. And which snapping the ball ain't hard. The thing is snapping the ball and stepping. If he can learn to snap the ball and step, he may be Kelsey-ish by the time he finishes his career. But go ahead, Chris.
So Haynes, I really like Haynes a lot. He's just very steady. That's what I like about any kind of offensive lineman that I watch. I want them to be steady. I don't want them to be, frantic feet, frantic eyes, the head moving all around and stuff like that. He's just steady. And what put me onto him was last year, watching him against Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
Michigan, they got this dude, Graham Glasgow, I think that's his name, number 55, whoever 55 is. He's supposed to be one of those ones. And, Haynes was putting him in the dirt last year. And he was handling both him and Chris Jenkins. And, he's a guy, I think for my cup of tea, he's probably one of my favorite guards in this class. I like his nastiness. I like his demeanor. He plays, to me, when he's mirroring, he does such a good job of just staying so patient. He's never really, you don't really see him over his feet all the time or off balance. And I love that about his game. He's, like I said before, he's just steady. And, he's one of those guys, he fits that Ravens type, like where they go after those team captains. They go after the dudes who have the high football IQ. And to me, he's it. You see a guy that, he's on UConn, he's dominating. There are times where you go to a bigger school and kind of like Coach, alluded to with Blake Fisher, they can hide you a little bit with their scheme, with their players. You at UConn, there's no hiding.
Right.
They're going to attack you and you just got to hold your water. And I thought he did a tremendous job of being able to do his thing and also show out at the combine where, he's getting under dude's skin. He's not even talking trash. He's just getting under dude's skin by his performance. And, the dude, I forgot who it was, ripped his helmet off. And he told dude, he was like, if you scared, go to church. I love that. I love that demeanor and that quiet confidence that he has in him. And, he's one of those dudes that I think if he goes in third round or something like that, I think a team is getting a tremendous steal.
Yeah, he's definitely a jewel. Just think about his snaps. 60 as a true freshman, 835 as a sophomore, 815 as his next year, 736 as the next year, 802 his senior year. A total at UConn, he's played 3,248 total snaps already.
Damn.
If that's not a Ravens type, not saying we're gonna get him, but if that's not a Ravens guy that can play all them snaps already, he's tried and true.
And he's from Maryland.
Yeah, he's tried and true. Like he's gonna show up every game and do work. Every game and do work. What I got for him is he has some good Senior Bowl practice reps. He has really, really, really good feet. As far as his short area quickness inside the little, I don't even want to say the tackle box, but between the center and the other tackle, his lateral quickness is good. His overall strength is good. You don't see a lot of bull rush from him, but when he does lose, to me, losing slow is really key when you have a mobile quarterback. And so I look for that when thinking about O-linemen that the Ravens can potentially have. Because Lamar is so good at, cutting his eyes and seeing you losing and then making stuff happen. So if you lose slow, I mean, I care if you lose, but if you lose slow, that means that protects Lamar to me. So that sticks out to me. So him losing slow, that means a lot to me. He does a good job of dropping his butt when he getting bull rush. So even when he starts to lose, he does a good job of just sinking his hips and stop. Go ahead, Chris. What you gonna say?
No, about the losing slow thing, and for people who don't really understand that, just think about Alejandro Villanueva when he would lose, at a blink of an eye.
Right.
You give Lamar no chance to throw, any quarterback, no chance to throw when you're losing like that. But if you could hold on for dear life and, give that quarterback that little heads up, that means that extra second is the difference between a fumble and throwing a ball out of bounds incomplete.
Yeah. And I got the only negative for me was size, but the way he played at the Senior Bowl and the way he performed at the Combine, he can overcome that. At playing guard, he can overcome that. And because of his size, if he can snap, he can make it a positive. And look at Linderbaum.
I think he took some snaps at the Senior Bowl. I think he took some center snaps.
And I'll say this: when I got a chance to go to practice this year, Linderbaum was standing next to Ben Cleveland and Falele, and I couldn't see Linderbaum. So just think about, I'm saying this for Haynes, not necessarily for us because we got Linderbaum, but just in general, if he goes to a team and plays center, he'll be that good, because the size won't matter. Because like I said, Linderbaum completely disappeared beside Cleveland and Falele. And I know Falele is a massive human being. He'll get rid of everybody. Tyrone said, "What about him being bull rush?" I just mentioned it. He does a good job of dropping his ass.
Mm-hmm.
So when they try to just straight up, just go through him, he probably have that initial hop back, but then he just set his butt down and anchor himself, and he stops that. From what I saw.
Yep.
And so I'm sure a time or two he'll like a guy like DJ Reader will probably put him, or Chris Jones will put him on his butt, but eventually he'll get in his grown man body and he'll get over that bull rush type stuff. Yeah. So so him being bull rush consistently, I probably won't be worried about it, but it'll happen from time to time. But it happens from time to time with every old line.
Yeah.
All right, next guy on the docket, Christian Mahogany from Boston College. You got it.
Okay. I like Christian Mahogany. He's a dude coming into the 2023 season. So when Zay was in Zay's last year, I didn't know about Zay Flowers. I knew about Christian Mahogany because there was a lot of talk about him being the number one offensive guard. But unfortunately for him, he tore his ACL. So he didn't get to play that last season with Zay. Came back this year, and I thought he picked up where he left off, kind of similar to what we spoke about last week with Jordan Morgan, who came off for ACL. Mahogany came back, and for my money, he's probably the strongest guard in this class. Really strong, pretty long. Like his arms, they look pretty long for me. But just his game is just predicated off of strength. There's no finesse with him. It's just straight up brute phone booth strength where, I'm going to go, me and you, we're going to line up. He would be perfect against one of those DJ Reader types, just in the phone booth battling one-on-one. He's not a guy that you're going to really play a lot of, stretch with. You're not going to really have him out in space like that. He can do it, but I feel like his best strength would be, just straight up phone booth type blocking for him.
So for him, he's a mauler.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so with Christian, I think Christian is the one I started watching and I walked out and forgot to come back and watch. So I don't have no notes for Christian. So we gonna leave it on you for that one because I ain't gonna fluff it. I thought I had some on him, but I put this slide together and I think I forgot to go back and watch him. So I don't have nothing for Christian, but I do know that with the red bandana game, because that's what his jersey is from, that he was one of the ones that when I did watch it, because I always watch that red bandana game, he was one of the ones that kept getting pancakes.
Was that the Florida State game?
I think so.
Yeah,
I think
that was a good one.
So he was one of the ones that kept getting pancakes, even though they got their doors blown off of him. He was one of the ones that kind of stood out. And so the little bit that I remember from that against Fisk. Is it Fisk? Brady
Fisk,
Fisk.
yeah,
He was
Fisk
one of the few. He's one of the few
Lovett.
guys that kind of handled Fisk this year. So, for the little bit that I remember from Mahogany, that was good for him. And then when you look at his RAS score, like if you look at him, he don't look like he don't look athletic.
Right.
But you see that RAS score at 9.58, that 40-yard dash, barely over 5, the splits, which is really what matters with O-lineman. And then, his vertical. Like you don't, these guys moving like this, and the O-line group as a whole, these big jokers don't supposed to move like this.
Yeah, and it surprised me because I mean I don't want to say that he's not athletic on the field, but like it just looks like when somebody's walking around with Timbs and you can hear them down the hall, like that's what it looks like when he's stepping. It's like heavy Tim boots on.
Mm-hmm.
So when I see this rascal, I'm like, damn. On Sunday when he put up those numbers testing, I'm like, woof. Right. I didn't see that coming, but hey, the hats off to him.
Right. And keep in mind, the more green, the better. Now, I will say this, and when it comes to RAS don't always guarantee good, but it's a good indicator. It don't guarantee that the player's gonna be good, but it's a good indicator that you're getting a quality athlete. And if you can get a quality athlete, yes, another piece of the puzzle, exactly. It don't guarantee that he's gonna be good. He's gonna be a star. He's gonna be an all-star. But it's a good piece of the puzzle to try to project and get you a good person. I don't have Malik because I fumbled the bag on him, Malik. So I don't have his snap count. I put this graphic together for him, and I think I got up to go do something else, and I just forgot about it. So I don't know if you saw me flipping through it. I thought I had it, but I didn't. So that's my bus on that one. Charge it to my heart. Not my head on that one.
I wonder where he's going to play at when he gets into the league, because to me,
he looked like with 6'3". He's right in that middle range.
No, I'm talking about weight wise. Like because when he came into he weighed in, he was 314.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, he looked like he was at least 330.
He ain't 314 in this picture.
No, definitely not in the picture. But at the combine, he was 314. So we talked about Cooper Beebe last week, where Cooper Beebe was like 345, and he came in and he was like 320 something at the combine. So we know those guys drop weight, but I just want to see where he wants to play at and where he feels comfortable.
Hold on, I'm gonna get them at that snap count real quick for
Mahogany.
Mahogany. Hold on, I can get it real quick. I'm gonna go to regular season. Oh no, not NFL. I need college. Let's see, by player. Christian.
Yeah, he's another guy that Boston College O-line. You're not gonna be able to hide.
Right.
They don't have any other dudes there.
I got a kid that transferred from North Carolina to play his last year, so I'll be watching him a lot this year. It don't help much with Mahogany, but
that's right. You told me that we were talking about their quarterback. I forgot his name. Castellanos, I think.
This kid gonna be a tight end, but regular season, here we go. All right, so snap count. 2020, he played 785. 2021, 706. He did not play in 2022.
That was the ACL.
That's the ACL. And so 2023, he played 862. I'll give you his PFF grade since I got it up here. For the season, his offensive PFF grade was 74.9. Pass blocking was 82.2. Run blocking was 74.5. So, that's solid. That's solid. He has no reds on PFF. He has all orange and yellow and green. So, according to PFF, depending on how you believe in PFF, that's what he had. That's what he has. So, take that for what it's worth, Malik. Depending on how you believe in PFF when you look at two guys that were about to work for PFF and didn't even know it at the same time. The funny thing is, if y'all don't know that, me and Chris was about to work for PFF and we ended up quitting the same day.
Yep.
Didn't even know it.
I quit on my flight back to New York. I said, I'm not doing this shit.
I quit on the ride back home from the meetup. Both of us. Next up, Jackson Powers Johnson, the center from Oregon. I'm giving you a snap count for Powers Johnson. In 2021, played 126 snaps. In 2022, played 400. And then last year, 829. He's a sixth. Well, I did this one before the watch. I was going to make sure my numbers right. 6'3", 320. Well, they got him at 328. So he picked up 8 pounds. He's a junior. Supposedly one of the best centers in college. I'll start with this one. Junior, I got him at quick feet. Stays square when he double teams. He's very Linderbaum-ish is what I got on his paper. Worried if he can handle strong zero techs. And I always think about Reader and guys like that when I talk about the zero techs, because I'm wondering about them just being bull rush, like somebody asked a minute ago. I think Tyrone asked about that. Can the interior guys handle being bull rush? He doesn't have any problem getting the second level if he's uncovered. That's why I say he's Linderbaum-ish. He gets the second level. He's fleet of foot. And I say he worked at some guard in Senior Bowl practices. This guy right here, he's real damn good at center. Really, really darn good at center. And when I say he's Linderbaum-ish, everything that we love about Linderbaum, this guy can do. This guy can do. Go ahead, Chris.
Man, so last week we spoke about Troy Fontenot. We got to pour one out because we're not seeing him,
right?
Unless he got a gas,
especially not the last week.
Unless he got a gas mask situation, we definitely not seeing him. But this is the one that I would love. I would love to put him next to Linderbaum, Jackson Powers Johnson. That is. Mm-hmm. I love this dude's game. I love his demeanor. Still young, just turned 21 in January. He's just a baby scratching the surface, and he's already, this was his first year playing center.
Hey, man, how true is this, Chris? I don't mean to cut you off.
Mm-hmm.
You heard this? What I got up there? Is that true? You heard that? Anything about that?
Let me see if I got that in my notes. Hold on.
How true is that, Brandon? Did you see that? Or I ain't never heard that one about Jackson Powers Johnson.
Yeah, I don't have it in my notes, but it wouldn't surprise me with the demeanor that he plays with.
Right, that joke is nasty. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, super. But like you said, the difference between him and Linderbaum, so he has the physical skill set that Linderbaum has,
mm-hmm.
but he weighs about 25 pounds more than him, and he has that mass. And for me, it's something I always go back to is what I saw something about the Eagles when they used to have who was their guard that they had? They used to play next to Kelsey. Damn it, I forgot who he was. He was real good though. He was Pro Bowler every year. He was good. But what they wanted to do since Kelsey was smaller in stature, what they wanted to do was put 2 massive guards next to him,
mm-hmm.
but not stiffs. They wanted to put 2 massive athletic guards. One was Evan Mathis. I remember him. Evan Mathis. He was a Bama guy back in the day. And to me, that's what I envision with the Ravens is somebody who can be massive like that too. What did he weigh in at? 328?
328. Yep.
So 328. And to me, that's perfect. And then that demeanor that he has, that nastiness, that playing to the echo of the whistle, that's something that I just love. And
he said, you can't give your source away. Protect your sources, big dog. I feel you.
And somebody, Killer Cam, put Dickerson in there. I don't know if people remember Dickerson he was at FSU before, then he transferred over to Alabama. Landon Dickerson. Mm-hmm. He was one of my favorites coming out. And to me, I see the similarities between Jackson Powers Johnson and Landon Dickerson. Just the physicality, the athleticism that they have, the mindset that, they don't only want to get the block. They want to put you in the dirt
mm-hmm.
and then get up and celebrate if you run it down for a touchdown. And you see him on tape. You see him after a big play is made. He's one of the first people running down the field, yep. Celebrating. And we haven't had something like that with that kind of demeanor since what's his name? Ryan Jensen.
Right. You know what, Jackson, he embodied Dan Lanning's I'll be honest with you. After the way Dan Lanning kind of did, if you don't know, I'm a huge Deion fan. Like Deion is my favorite football player ever, and the way Dan Lanning kind of parlayed that thing versus Colorado, I ain't really like Dan Lanning, but Jackson Powers Johnson kind of embodies Dan Lanning's persona on the football field, and as a coach, you love that crap, boy.
Yep.
He is Dan Lanning on the field, and you love it. He gonna beat your you know what, and then tell you about it over and over and over. He gonna give it to you, and whether you like it or not, he gonna keep giving it to you. And when you tired of getting it, he gonna give it to you some more. And that's what I love about Jackson Powers Johnson. Yep. And that he my type of football player. And for anybody that needs whatever team he go to, he probably won't be the captain as a rookie. But I guarantee he'll be a captain as a second year. And I wouldn't be surprised if the Eagles go get him, especially with what happened to Kelsey.
Yeah, and you know they always want to load up and stock up and always go for the offensive line early.
Yeah. And that was meant to be a pause moment, Ravens. See, I tried to make it a pause moment.
And also he did play defensive tackle for the Ducks in the 2021 Alamo Bowl.
Ah, see, you found it, huh?
Mm-hmm.
That is. Next up,
appreciate that. I forgot who said it, but appreciate it. Brandon. Appreciate that.
Javon Foster. I don't know if this is the one we took off or not, but there he is. Let me see if I got what I got.
No, we took off Brandon Coleman. Whoa.
Coleman from the Miami. Brandon.
Javon Coleman.
Let's see. This might be another one I took off. You got Foster. Go ahead.
You got him?
No, I don't know. Maybe not. I got a bunch of them on here. I got last week and this week all together.
So with Javon Coleman, Javon, damn, I'm over here saying Coleman. With Javon Walker, he's a guy. He's one of those, later round dudes who, definitely has the power to stick at tackle. I don't think he's going to be a guy who will struggle against any kind of power moves. Now, where he does struggle with is kind of like the opposite of Ronnie right now, is the athletic guys who can be able to change it up on him, change directions, give him those counters. His ability to recover from those counters is very iffy right now. But head up, if you got a power rusher, I have faith in him. But it's those other athletic dudes that it's going to be rough for him unless he gets those feet right. And I mean, we've seen it happen before where guys are able to develop and anticipate better. Because I think a lot of it is anticipation, because you're just so focused on the defender's initial move that you kind of opening yourself up for that counter and you falling right into the trap. And in the NFL, they're going to eat that up.
Yeah. I do have a few notes for him. But the main thing I wrote down was Mike Mayock's favorite word. He's a heavy-legged waist bender. And that kind of ties into what you said. Those twitchy edge guys give him fits.
Yeah.
But guys that were like Owe coming out, that were going to give you that one move, he destroys them.
Right.
The guys that going to give him, just going to try to bull rush you, he ate them for lunch. Because you are not going to bull rush this massive human being.
Yep.
Now, if you had like a outside counter to spin, you winning. Or if you had like a cross chop where you jumping with it, you winning. But if you tried to bull rush him, or if he got his hands on you, he might choke slam you.
Yeah.
But if you got counter moves, and you versatile in your pass rush game, if you're a skilled pass rusher, you can beat him. Yeah. But if you just think you're gonna one move all game, you in for a rude awakening. Because once he get his hands on you, you're going down, and he might just choke you out and cut your throat out. But he you can tell by his RAS score, he ain't fleet of foot. He ain't gonna work in space well. He's a average O lineman. I think he'll projected to be a backup O lineman. But if you don't come with a multiple pass rush package, he gonna whoop your ass.
Yeah, he's another Greg Roman special.
Mm-hmm.
He will flourish in the Greg Roman system.
Yeah, he's a lineman that if you're in a run heavy scheme and you got a lead, he gonna lean on you, just like the earlier guy we talked about. He gonna lean on you, and you gonna get tired of him leaning on you. You know who? When I first pulled this picture up, you know what I thought about? Your favorite basketball player. EA, no, the UA Derek White. It's an ugly dude.
Ugly ass Derek White.
But he'll lean on you and he gonna punish you. He gonna punish you. But the funny thing is, though, Missouri threw the ball a lot because they had good receivers.
Yeah. And they had
really good receivers.
Hell of a run game, too.
Yeah. So, and his 40 was, his red. His 40's red, but he's one of those guys that look like it hurt to run.
He's another dude with Tim boots on the field.
Like it hurt to run. like if something happened and we got to run as a people, it's gonna happen to him.
Yeah,
he getting left.
Him. Mm-hmm.
He getting left. But if he get his hands on whoever doing what's happening, it's over. It is over for that person.
Yep.
So it is what it is, man. But he it's big. It's hard for those bigger guys to move and it just is. That's why it's so valuable for a guy like Troy Fatnu to move up and to be so easily wanted, because Troy can move like a skilled person. Whereas you got Javon that's so huge and he can't. That's why it's rare to get guys that can move like skilled guys and still be big. But I think it's a space for people like Javon. They just they got to carve out their niche.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they get the opportunity, whether it be a backup role or not, they just gotta not relinquish that opportunity. So he may have to just do whatever he got to do to work on movement and whatnot. Maybe he had to be a cerebral guy or whatever, but it's a spot for him in the NFL. He just gotta, when he gets an opportunity, just don't fail, because it may not be but one opportunity.
Yep, and with the way tackle play is in the NFL, if you a true left tackle, have a ton of experience like he does, then they're gonna find a place for you.
Right. Matter of fact, let me look up his snaps too, so I do him like Mahogany. Javon Foster, Mizzou. All right. See, he's one of them Ravens guys too. Ton of snaps. Well, not a ton of snaps, but ton of years. 2019, 23 snaps. 2020, 188. And for the next 3 years, over 800 snaps. So 2021, 860. 2022, 806. And 2023, 831. And again, as I look through it, last year, PFF grade, 84.3 overall as far as offense. Pass block 80.5, and then run block 86.6. And like I told you, he'll lean on you.
Mm-hmm.
He will lean on you in the run game, and that shows in his PFF grade. When he get his hands on you, if you ain't about that action, he gonna be about that action on you. All right, next up, one of the guys that I did a mock on, and I wasn't really sure who he was at the time, but after this weekend, I know who he is now. And that mock draft I did pre-draft, looking a lot more, looking really good with some of the guys that I picked up. This is Kingsley Suamataia from BYU, RAS score of 9.14. And again, that's out of 10. 40-yard dash 5.4, which is good. His height for a tackle, they got him in the red, but shit, he's 6'4". 6'4", 6'5", 6'6". What's ain't too much difference there.
Yeah.
Ain't too much difference. Arm length is what really matters.
Mm-hmm.
34 and 1/4. Hand size 10 and that would be 10 and 5/8. Vertical 28, broad jump 9, whatever that is. 902. Stupid numbers. But I like him because when you look at him on tape, son gun is athletic as all get out. And he started at Oregon. He initially signed at Oregon, went to BYU, but I'll let you go ahead with Kingsley.
Yeah, like you said, started at Oregon. He was a 5-star recruit. The cousin of Penny and Nova
yep.
School. Former high school teammate of Puka. So he's around some good NFL bloodlines right there. But as far as he's concerned, last season, not 2023, 2022 season, he played right tackle exclusively, and I hated him at right tackle. It did not look natural to him. He didn't look comfortable at all, and you expect that from a guy who's played left tackle his whole life, and then having to switch over and switch to the right side. And he's still a baby, and when it comes to the football years, like I was saying,
just look at his face.
Yeah, like
he's 16.
If he went back to school, like there could be a conversation that he could be a top 15 pick. Like he could play himself into that.
With my snap count, the years he only got 3, so he's a true junior.
Yep. And this was his first season playing left tackle, first full collegiate season playing left tackle.
Yeah.
So he's just scratching the surface of where he can be, and what he showed in 2023, for me, that's enough to get me excited to what can potentially be on the horizon with this kid. And when you're picking at the back end of the first round, that's what you want. You want guys who they're scratching the surface, and they're close to being there. They just need a little bit more time.
Yeah.
And I think in my notes, I put he needs just a little bit more seasoning. Because you see it there in flashes. And I think right now what you want is that consistency, because you see the nastiness in his game. Like that's there 100%. And somebody asked me a couple of days ago, do I think he can, kick inside the guard just to get the 5 best on the field? And I think he has the demeanor to do it. He has the strength to do it. And you could see a position, a scenario where he can graduate to left tackle whenever they move on from Ronnie.
Yep. But like Osmond said, would you see him take him in a second? Shit, Osmond, he ain't gonna get to the second, cuz. And if he do, it's gonna be early second.
Yeah, I think. I mean, you never want to say nah, it's not gonna happen, but
he ain't gonna get past 40.
Yeah, it's hard to see that happening because, like I was saying with Foster, like there's so many bad tackles in this league. And when you got a young dude like this coming who has played both sides, teams are going to be salivating over that and wanting to jump over it and be able to get their hands on this player and possibly have somebody who can turn into a star because he has those physical qualities. Now, he's not perfect. Let's not get it twisted. He's not going to go in the top 10, top 15, but in a different simulation, if he went back to school and you told me, Kingsley's going to be a top 15 pick in the 2025 draft, I'd be like, yeah, that sounds about right.
Let me give you his inexperience because we keep mentioning it. At Oregon, his freshman year, he only played 11 snaps. In playing right tackle in 2022, 632. So that technically really ain't even a whole season. Last year, I only played 644 snaps last year. Everybody else we've been mentioning that like been full-time starters, been right around 700, 800 snaps.
Yeah.
So he really, overall, let's say 1,276 snaps plus 11. So that's 1,287 snaps total. When we looked at somebody that played 7,000 snaps we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
So this is really a baby when it comes to like football snaps. Just think about what you could do if you get a good coach around him, and you can mold him into what you want him to be. And then you look at his tape, he got the nastiness. He got the tools.
And he just turned 21 a couple months ago. Just turned 21. And what I like about him is his base, like his template right now, what he's starting off with is power.
Right.
And I love that for a young tackle coming into the league because, I mean, we saw Ronnie, when he was young and, he was skilled when he was young, but that's what he struggled with was power.
Mm-hmm.
And in the AFC North, you're going to deal with a lot of power.
Right.
And for him to have that base, but also have that athleticism that he has, because he's athletic.
And with him just turning 21, you gotta go ahead and get him in the first round so you can have that 5th-year option.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Somebody mentioned that to me earlier too, and the strength that he has in his hands, that's not during the time he was 20 years old. That's not 20-year-old strength.
Right.
That's some Moana Samoan power in those hands. Because there were times where he was off balance and he was able to just strike with his right hand, and he was just stunning defenders. And so somebody like that, I think you can get a special player with him.
Right. That's like I'm saying, 20, just turning 21. I think you can't let him get to the second round, because that 5th-year option with him growing and maturing into his body, that extra year is going to be crucial because when he gets if he develops like everybody think he is, his contract is going to be through the roof. So you're going to need the extra year to develop him.
Yeah, and they, he's obviously not perfect. I mean, we're talking about the possibility of him being there at 30, early second. The negatives on him. There's times where he does struggle to recover. Off of that initial move. Now, I don't think that it's an athleticism issue. I think, like we spoke about with Mims, there's just reps, like the lack of reps that are there. I mean, this kid, he's just playing. This is his first full season of collegiate football.
Yeah.
And
at left tackle.
At left tackle. And I think, like, let's say if he goes to the Ravens, like, there's gonna be bumps in the road.
Yep.
Of course. He's young, and when you don't have the amount of snaps that some of these other dudes have, like, you brought up Javon Foster. Like, there are things Javon Foster has seen that Kingsley hasn't yet, just because he hasn't been put in those situations.
Right. Let's take it like this. Let's say Kingsley gets drafted to the Ravens and we put him at left guard. If he has the exact same season that John the Stallion has, I would be ecstatic. If he has the very exact same season that John Simpson has, like same reps, same mistakes, same positives, same negatives, I would be extremely through the roof if Kingsley had that same season. Because Kingsley is 21, John Simpson is 30, and that means Kingsley will only get better. I'll be through the roof.
Yeah,
that's the projection. And we've been talking about Kingsley for 10 minutes. I ain't even talked about the shit on my paper. Let's go to the next dude. This is the guy from Yale. Now, he didn't do much. He didn't do nothing at the combine, so we don't have Raz for him. You watched Kiran. I can't even say his last name. Did you watch him, Chris?
I did, but I was trying to see if you could get that last name out.
Amegadjie.
I'm gonna go with what you said, because I'm not even gonna try.
Let me look at it. Kiran Amegadjie.
Amegadjie.
There you go.
I'm just guessing, but hey, if we getting it wrong, sorry.
I'll give you his reps real quick. 2021, 234, 2022, 666, and 2023, 695.
Yeah, he's someone, I watched him a few months ago, and I really loved his game, and it's gonna sound like music to Ravens fans' ears. He reminded me a lot of KO. A lot. Got long arms. Unfortunately, a little bit of an injury history. He's someone, I think he could have made a lot of money this offseason if he didn't get injured. He injured his quad. And before then, he was dominating the Ivy League. And, everybody's going to say, oh, it's the Ivy League, whatever. But when you see these kind of prospects that come from those kind of those kind of schools, you want to see them dominate their competition. We saw that with Quinn Miners. Quinn Miners, they were like, oh, his level of competition is nothing. But the competition that he was going up against, he was dominating them. And you see that with Kiran. We're gonna call him Kiran.
Mm-hmm.
We see that with Kiran, and he was somebody I was super excited to see at the Senior Bowl, because I think he would have put up a show over there. 6'5", 323. Just a massive guy, and he's another guy. He plays with that nastiness, that edge, and that base of a power game, but also having the athletic ability to not just be stuck in the mud, like we said with those Tim Boot guys, like who was the other dude Foster we were talking about. He actually has a little bit of athleticism to him. Now it's a little rough around the edges, I mean, he goes to Yale, so obviously those coaches are not brought into.
He can process information though.
That you would hope he can.
Oh no! If he go to Yale, he can process information.
No, like if I needed somebody to build me a rocket, I'm calling him first. But
no, I'm saying he can process information. Can he physically do what he's thinking is a different story.
Right. But for him, like he doesn't. You could tell I didn't look this up, but you could tell he probably played a different sport coming up, because the way he moves it doesn't coincide with somebody who just grew up being the big man and playing the line, like we spoke about last week when it came to Joe Alt. Like you could tell he played tight end. With Kiran, you could see the same thing, the same movement skills of a bigger athletic guy. Now with him, I think he's a guy also, you can draft him second, third round, kick him on the inside, because he has that base of that power game. And he has that mass that I spoke about earlier. He's somebody
318.
That's a big boy.
Yeah.
Now I don't know what his recovery is looking like for that quad injury. Hopefully he'll be full, ready to go. But he's somebody that I think he could be a diamond in the rough if he falls, because I truly believe if he would have went to the Senior Bowl, he probably could have had like a Christian Haynes type of performance, a Jackson Powers Johnson kind of performance. I think he could have been one of those dudes down there and really put on the show.
I got a concern with the level of play, but I do like that he stood out versus the weaker competition. So when you look at guys that play like I hate to say a weaker level of competition, but when you get a chance to go to Ivy League, you got to take that, because that's going to set you up for life after football. But he stood out versus them guys. He was obviously like, I'm the top dog down here. And so he stood out versus those guys, delivers pop on run plays, and snaps the defender's head back when he was coming off the ball. So when he would hit guys like on run plays, the defenders was doing this like consistently. Like the defensive ends and D tackles, consistently their head was popping back. So I love that about him. So he wasn't just down there brother-in-law. No. He was down there knocking folks' head off.
Yep.
And so I like that about him. So it didn't matter to me that, like, initial concern was, Yale. But then when I looked at it, I'm like, oh yeah, he kicking these boys' butt. And so I like that about him. And I wish he would have had an opportunity to do some stuff, maybe Senior Bowl and stuff like that. But I ain't gonna hold Yale against him, man. Interesting prospect. So I'm cool with, wherever he goes, and it'll be interesting to see what he can do versus the league. So I hope that injury don't hold him back completely.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna just call him Kiran A. All right. Interesting prospect right here. Patrick Paul, University of Houston, RAS score of 9.75, 40 time green, 20-yard split green, 10-yard split green, height 6'7", green, weight 330, green, vertical and 3 cone, it was average, but 6'7". I don't know if that's why he's number 76, but elite, 6'7", size and speed for that size. So, hey, go ahead, Chris.
I don't know what the record is of games played, but I know this dude, he has to be up there because he's been
I might have.
starting. He's had starts dating back to his true freshman year.
Oh yeah, I got it. You ready for it?
Yeah,
I
I'm
don't got the
ready.
total, but
I know it's crazy.
2019, 178 games. 2020, 147 games. 2021, 820. 2022, 832. And then last year, 778. So yes, he's been starting or we're playing a lot since a freshman. He got quality snaps since a freshman. So yeah, he been on it.
and one of the rare two-time team captains that you see on a college team. So I bring up that captain stuff because it's always a crapshoot with these guys, and dudes who are team captains, those are the leaders of the team, and that can give you an indication of how hard this player is willing to work and the kind of time that they're willing to put in, because now it's not, oh, the coach is on me. It's the NFL. If you're not getting the job done, the coach is not going to be on your ass. You got to be on your own.
You be on your own ass.
Exactly. So when you see these dudes that have that C on their chest, that kind of it gives them just a little bit extra bump for you, because that they're a self-starter and they're somebody that's willing to really work hard and put in the work that they need to. And Patrick Paul, he's another guy, got some NFL bloodlines. Brother Chris Paul, not the point guard, the guard from the Commanders, I think it is. But this dude, massive. I mean, you look at the RAS score and you see him, he's like a small little building you could live in. But he's a left tackle, true left tackle, moves very well. Like, for somebody that's that big, like, you do not expect him to move the way that he does. He's not Lane Johnson, but
right.
There's only one Lane Johnson. For him, the thing that I loved about his game was how active he was as far as moving his feet. A lot of these big guys, we see them, they kind of get stuck in the mud, but he was like, his ability to mirror was like, it was very impressive. And I was not expecting that from somebody his size.
6'7". Right.
Yeah.
You expect a 6'7" dude to be, okay, if you run into me, I'm gonna beat your butt. Not to move and be able to go get guys.
Right. And what you see with the dudes with the longer arms is you kind of see them like have their feet a little bit stuck in the mud, and they want to put their hands all the way out and kind of just reach out for the defenders. But he's actually mirroring. Now, when it comes to the hands, that's where I have a little bit of an issue with him. His hands, it's like he got like oil on them or something, because like whenever he's going to strike a defender, it's like they just automatically just slip on the outside
and don't get replaced.
And I forgot who we were talking about before, where I said, where they give you that initial jolt, and if their hands get slapped down, they're right back in the breastplate. With him,
it's a guy that we hadn't talked about yet that's great at that.
But with him, his hands get slapped on the outside, he's grabbing, he's hugging, and I saw that a lot on his tape. And NFL defenders, they're gonna catch on to that, and they're gonna be able to get those holding calls. So that's something I really want to see develop better in his game, is stronger hands, more accurate hands when it comes to his punch, because you want that punch and that grip. Right now he has the punch a little bit, just not that grip, and he's too reliant on getting those hands on the outside and grabbing up under the pads. And
right.
You
definitely got to get them inside.
You got to be inside. Yep.
What I got for him was, and the game I really focused in was Texas, since Texas was so good. I got he held his own versus Texas, and when he lost, he mostly lost slow, except for a few instances when guys were like cross chop him and kind of, like you said, with those hands, they would take him and just throw him by. But that wasn't a lot. That happened few and far between. Really good quick set in the Senior Bowl practices, and he had some really nasty finishes in the Senior Bowl practices, which I didn't expect to see from a guy that tall. You normally see those nasty finishes from those lower center of gravity guys, but he got nasty in the Senior Bowl. And like I said, you really don't expect. I really didn't expect that. Really didn't expect to see that from a guy that size. Another thing that I liked from him, he had a low back and a flat back on run plays. A guy that size, you normally see them when the ball snapped, they kind of stand up. He stayed flat back, low back on your run plays. He understands angles when working the second level. He looks good working in space. I thought he struggled with Senior Bowl practices, but he didn't. He actually looked better to me. Because he played at Houston, I thought when he played better competition that he would struggle at the Senior Bowl. Did not. He was just as good, versus Texas and those guys at the Senior Bowl as he was versus the competition at Houston. And I guess Houston moving to the Big 12 really kind of solidified that. Houston used to did not be in the Big 12. They were in a Conference USA or some shit. But Patrick Paul looked just as good as some of the guys we talked about last week to me.
Right.
So I was surprised because this was one of the guys you added, right?
I added. I think so.
I'm glad you did because this guy wasn't on my radar, and I like this dude.
Yeah,
I like this dude. He surprised me.
Yep, the true left tackle too.
Mm-hmm.
Another one of those guys, and it's not, like this is rare. Like I don't know if people understand, like this class, this offensive line class, this OT class. It's rare that you can talk about a dude like Patrick Paul and be pretty confident that he's probably going to go in the second round.
Mm-hmm.
And any other year, this dude probably be going 25, 30.
Yep.
But with this class, like this special class, I think it's going to break a record. I truly do.
Yeah, this is crazy because, again, we talked about Alt and a bunch of other guys that's probably going to go high. I ain't going to say Patrick Paul better than Alt, but he ain't far from Alt. He ain't far from it. And Alt just better known because he played Notre Dame. So I like Patrick just as much as I like Alt. And you take that for what it's worth. I'm just a regular dude, but it is what it is. This cat right here, Roger Rosengarten, ran under a 5 flat in the combine. Ran a 4.92. As you see it right there, his speed when it comes to O-line, elite. 10-yard split, 1.73. 20-yard split, 2.85. Ran the shuttle at 4.6. Broad jump, elite. Now his height, not so good for a tackle at 6'5", but to me, that's BS. You 6'5", you 6'5". That's still tall. Mm-hmm. Weight 308. Now I understand that may not be as elite because Linderbaum is 300, right at 300. So you might want to be a little heavier as a tackle at that. Arm length 33.5, and then his hand size is 9, and that's 5'8". So, but still a good RAS at 959, 958, and I give you his snaps. In 2021, 234, 2022, 660. No, I'm on the wrong person. 2020, 3 snaps. 2022, 872, and 2023, 766. Roger Rosengarten. This is the guy we added last night, which I watched probably 2 hours before we started this show. But I'll let you go ahead and start with Roger Rosengarten, which is a guy I'm glad you added because it was a very, very, very good watch for me.
Yes, I got to give a tip of the cap to Mike Crawford. He's the one who put me on to this dude. He told me to watch him months ago.
Mm-hmm.
And the testing made me go back, and then something I told you, there was a little thing I heard last night about him, and he's a left tackle. Played left tackle all through high school. Got to Washington, was a left tackle. Then when Michael Penix decided to go to Washington, they moved Rosengarten to the right side to be the blind
To be
side
the blind
protector.
side. Mm.
And I found that so fascinating. And to
So
me,
technically, he's still a left tackle.
if you look in the mirror, yeah, he's a left tackle. But he's somebody. I watch him, and he'll definitely have his ups and downs when it comes to dealing with power.
Mm-hmm.
He kind of reminded me of Brian O'Neill from a few years ago. O'Neill was a little bit lighter than him, but he kind of reminded me of that. And O'Neill has, gotten stronger, developed into a more sturdy tackle in the league, and is one of the best tackles in the league now. Now, would that happen with Rosengarten? I don't know, but just physically, they have that same kind of body type and skill set. With him, what I liked about him, and is there's a dude at Oregon who he's probably going to be one of my favorite players next year. I forgot, Jordan Birch.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's number 1 in Oregon, and that dude he's a menace. You see him give Fuaga some work. You see him give Troy Fontenot some work.
Edge guy,
a little bit on the inside too. One of those typical Oregon edge defenders. Like 6'5", 275. One of those cats, power. And early on, Rosengarten had his hands full.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's who I watched, Oregon.
Yeah, he had his hands full early on, and then I think he said,
let me read this to you, Chris.
Go ahead.
Oregon ends were giving him fits.
Yeah, but I think in that game he settled down, because early on I was like, ooh, oh boy, this is gonna be a rough one. But I think he settled down nicely, and that's what you want to see. It's definitely not going to be perfect, and for him not to be a natural right tackle.
Mm-hmm.
For him, because when I found that out, I was like, oh, okay, that makes a little bit more sense. And I spoke about how with Kingsley, I watched him play on the right side. I did not like him on the right side at all. And I wonder with this dude, Rosengarten, if you move him to his natural position, how does he look now?
Mm-hmm.
And it's that wonder. And then you also have that versatility,
Right.
Like, all right, you got the right tackle tape, and it's not terrible. It's not pristine. It's not beautiful, but it's enough where it gives you confidence where he can play on that side. And I think physically, athletically, to me, because I've heard things of him being moved to guard, I think he can hang at tackle. Like, I don't think he's a guard.
When you think of left tackles, you think of more finesse guys anyway.
Exactly.
And that's what when I look at this tape, before you said that, I thought, like, this is a finesse dude. Why is he on the right side? But it makes sense now that you said what you said.
Right, and you see how and then look at the two tackles.
Mm-hmm.
Look at Fontenot, and then look at
looks
Rosengarten.
Like a right tackle.
Right, right. So it makes sense of why they would have that, that kind of O-line show, or that offensive tackle shuffle, because he's more of the left tackle for lefty Michael Penix.
Mm-hmm. What I got for Rosengarten, I got really, really quick feet at Senior Bowl practices. Short area quickness and lateral quickness, really good. So I didn't see that nastiness in the run game, but he got in good position, good punch and pass sets. I got the Oregon defensive ends were giving him fits, and I think he needs to hit the weight room.
Mm-hmm.
And that's him at right tackle.
Right.
So I'm thinking as a right tackle, he needs to be stronger, needs to have more power, because the right tackle is kind of your run leader. But now that I see him as a left tackle, he's a left tackle.
Yeah, and then there's more to add to that frame too. Like his frame is far from filled out.
I agree. What's the weight? 308. Yeah, I could easily see him at 330, if not more, easily. Getting the NFL weight room by his second year, maybe third year, 330, 335. And probably a little bit slower, but with some of that same quickness, right. I could see him, because he's almost too fast.
Yeah,
I could really see he could. I see a lot of potential in this dude. A lot of potential in this dude to be a long-term left tackle, or even a right tackle if you go to a team with a left tackle already. But I would say left tackle, because he has the speed to handle guys that got multiple Like he can handle those finesse pass rushers, those speed pass rushers. He ain't set up to handle a bull rush guy right now.
Right.
But like we talked about Foster that can't handle the multiple
He's
pass
the
rush guy.
opposite.
He's the opposite of it. He's the opposite. Now, if you take a defensive end that's just gonna try to run through his throat, he can't handle it. But he's the opposite of Foster right now. So I like what I saw out of Rosengarten, except for early in the game versus Oregon. But to your point, to your credit, he adjusted. And later on, the entire Washington team adjusted versus Oregon both times, from the coaches on down, because both of those games early in the game, Oregon was giving them fits.
Mm-hmm.
And from the coaches and Penix on down, both teams adjusted and found a way to win both of them games. O-line, running backs, coaches, Penix, and everybody found a way to win both of them games. So, I take my hats off to both of them. And I was a fan of Washington this year, mainly because I was a fan of Penix too. So, where my mouse at? Did my mouse die? Come on, let me turn this on. I think my mouse did die. There we go. Now I got mouse back. So I think this is the last dude. I think. Let's see. Nope. Tyler Guyton. I know I got Tyler Guyton on here. I think he might be the first one I did. Yep. Tyler Guyton from Oklahoma. 6'7" to 327. I got Senior Bowl kid. Had some impressive Senior Bowl reps. Had some initial lunges, but recovered well. Freshman and sophomore year at TCU. Junior and senior season at Oklahoma. I said I love his ability to get to second level. Works well versus edges that are not elite. Elite edges, he had multiple elite edges with multiple moves, gave him problems. I did question his strength. Needs to be better with his hand fits. He is not an impact blocker, but definitely can be a solid backup and work his way into be a starter. He was an H-back with TCU, elite athlete in space and between the tackles.
Yep. And, with him, I posted a clip a few months ago where he actually caught a touchdown at TCU. So that just tells you the kind of athleticism that this dude had for him to be, to go to TCU and be a left tackle / H-back. Like, that shows you the kind of athleticism that this dude has. And you can see it, just the way that he moves, that he's still growing and getting used to being, that size that he is. And I think he's another one of those guys where, he's just scratching the surface level of where he could be. Mm-hmm. A guy who has the athleticism to play on the left side. He has the size and the physicality to play on the right side if you need to. I think with a guy like Guyton, you talk about all the physical tools and being able to just come into the league and really take off. I think he's a guy that can do that from a physical standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it's the mental part of the game that he's behind. He doesn't have, all of this experience that we just spoke about with a guy like Patrick Paul.
Right. I can give you the snaps real quick. I got to pull it up.
Yeah, go ahead.
He got 20, and TCU played 4 snaps in 2020. TCU in 2021, he played 27 snaps. Transferred to Oklahoma in 2022, he played 311. And then last year, he played 663. So in total, he only has 1,005 snaps. In total, only has 1,005 snaps. So he's even more of a baby than who's I got from BYU? Kingsley. He's even more of a baby than Kingsley. Mm-hmm. And even though he's trying to mean mug in this picture, you can still see the baby face in it.
Yeah. Yep. And, he's a guy, he's still raw in his pass pro technique, but that strength is there. That strength in the hands is there. And that's something that I spoke about with Patrick Paul, where that's kind of lacking. I think with Tyler Guyton, he's a guy, he's accurate with his punches, and he's able to get up under that breastplate. And he has some really, really intense battles with who's my guy from Missouri, Darius Robinson.
Mm-hmm.
They were going at it. And he's a guy that I think that with the right coaching, I think we could be talking about this dude in the next 2-3 years as one of the steals of this draft.
I'm making a a reply. Well, I'll just say go ahead and say it. Fuck it. Um, to Brandon, like Chris said last week that remember you said Alt dad made him play tight end as long as possible.
Mm-hmm.
He was asking about Joe Alt, but we talked about Joe Alt last week, and Chris mentioned that his dad made him play tight end as long as possible until his body just was to the point where, all right, you got to go ahead and play tackle.
Yeah.
But Guyton, he's another one of them guys that like he's probably gonna be a late bloomer. So by the time he hit 24, 25, you may see an all-pro guy,
right,
with the athleticism. Like again, he started as an H-back. So his movement skills are going to be there. He's probably not going to move like a fat butt tackle and replace butt with you know what. So, I mean, and the crazy thing is, and this is a little tangent, but we know how athletic all the defensive guys have gotten. Defensive ends. Look how athletic Matabike is. Look how athletic what's the guy for the Cowboys? Parsons and with the Browns,
Myles
Garrett. So it's only the nature of the beast that offensive linemen start to get more athletic. Because if you still coming in looking like Nate Newton, there's no place for you in the NFL. So now offensive linemen have to be more athletic. And looking at these RAS scores, it's just a nature. Because if you don't come in athletic, there's no place for you. Because just look at a few plays from this year. That play where Myles Garrett came over the center and acting like he was doing a crossover move. Then a couple weeks later, Parsons did the same thing. Offensive lineman, you got to get more athletic.
Yep.
We can't have fat butts on the O-line no more. We just got to have athletes. We got to have 11 athletes on offense and 11 athletes on defense. Now, yeah, you're going to be bigger and thicker than normal, but you got to be athletes. And we just ain't no place on the field no more for just straight up like myself. You just can't be no fat dude no more. Sorry, you got to be athlete.
Yeah, and with him, there was a clear jump between 2022 tape and 2023 tape. And with these young guys who don't have a lot of snaps to their name, that's what you want to see. You want to see those jumps in development. And I think we could see a different jump from him, his rookie season, because like his bad plays, like there are plays where he initially has the defender blocked up, but then he'll get lazy with his technique for like a split second. And that's all, a good edge rusher, that's all they need is a split second for you to just think that he has you under control. And, you see that pop up a lot with Guyton, where he's like, all right, this dude's blocked up. And then, boom, boom, gets rid of his hands and, the edge defenders past him. And, that's that next step in maturation for his game and just being there, from the start of the whistle to the end of the whistle, to the echo of the whistle, and I think he's a guy, I heard Wanye Morris, I think is the guy's name. I always think about
Boys to Men.
Yeah. I forgot who drafted him, but he was the tackle at Oklahoma before him, and he kind of took Guyton under his wing, and he was like, yeah, this dude asked me so many questions. But that's what you want to hear from those, older cats that were in the school and the ones that starting ahead of you. I want to hear that, you were following them around, you were annoying them, asking them questions, wanting to just get every bit of knowledge that you can. So, that shows a want to get better and a want to learn the game deeper than just, I got to get big, I got to get strong. You want to learn all the tricks of the trade.
Yeah. All right, Chris, we talked about this before we started. We was going to be 45 minutes at max. We doubled that. So I think this episode was even better than last week's. And we're going to fall back. So what the 25th. So 26th is probably when we fall back again. When we come back again, if you down to come back on the 26th with some receiver stuff.
Ooh, I don't know. That's my birthday.
Oh, that's right.
So we'll see.
TBD. So definitely not the 26th. We're not gonna do 26th. We're not gonna come back on his birthday. But somewhere, maybe the 1st or something like that. April 1st. We'll be back. The next time we do this, it'll be with some receiver stuff. So not sure the date, but just keep your ears and your fingers open, and I'll let you know when we coming back with some some stuff up. But the next show will be receivers, because receivers is hot topic for us and what we're gonna do at the receiver position. And again, but I think this show was better than the first one because this show lets you know that we don't actually have to go tackle or O-line first round. We can maybe go receiver first or something else and come back and get a quality guy in the second round. So this was great, and I enjoyed watching these guys, and I appreciate you, Chris, for coming through.
Hey man, appreciate you having me, man. Always fun.
This was fun to do, and I agree. Some of the names you threw in on the back end, they were a joy to watch, and enjoy the rest of your Tuesday, man. I appreciate everybody for coming through. If you have not hit that like button, go ahead and do so. And so, once we get a date, we'll put it out there, and I'll throw Chris some names. He'll throw me some back, and we may even open it up to you guys to throw a few wide receiver names out there, because what we're gonna do is we're not gonna even mess with them top 5 guys. We're gonna go like some back end guys out there and look at it and talk about them. Because
don't go crazy though. Don't throw nobody from no Kutztown University in there.
Right. So we may open it up and pull 2 names, and I may open it up, but we probably ain't gonna pull but 1 or 2, because if I open it up, I know y'all gonna throw y'all cousin Pookie and Ray in there and go from there. So, but I appreciate y'all for watching and coming through. I know y'all been chatting and whatnot, and I couldn't pull everybody up there. So, but I thank y'all, and I appreciate it, man. I appreciate you, Chris, and we'll continue this. And again, if you didn't watch the roundup won't be back to the 25th for unforeseen reasons, but it is what it is, man. We got to go incognito for a minute. So I see y'all soon, man. Peace and love. And again, thank you, Chris, and we out.
Appreciate it.